This is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch it, you idiot. If not, then just enjoy the feature presentation.
So anyway, 2 years later, then Marci's in an accident. And I got the call. She was in the hospital. She had been in her Jeep with 3 flight attendants with the top down, driving around Mercer Island. And they had been getting in and out of that Jeep all day long. And this one time, Marci didn't belt. And as she's coming around a corner, a young teenager, high on drugs, came around the corner in her lane. Anyway, and so Mercer Island is a beautiful, it's on the water. So one of the sides of the road is a ravine all along with trees and bushes and stuff. So in order for her to not hit him head on, she swerved and went off the embankment. And her face, she fell out of the Jeep. Nobody else was hurt but her. She fell out of the Jeep and her face hit a log that was laying there. There was not one speck of barfy bark. And it was smooth like a baby's butt. Because if it had been a raw, gravelly piece of bark on that log, it would have destroyed her skin. But this way, it just mashed her bones. It just pulverized all of her bones except her eye sockets. And if you looked at the x-ray, all you could see was a hole like this, and it looked like somebody had shot her right in the face. Oh. And interesting, when Stacy was hurt and when Marci was hurt, actually, let me tell you about Marci because it was something else. Anyway, she was conscious. She never lost unconsciousness. And she was sitting there and she was bleeding because when anything with the face, you have a lot of blood. And she was bleeding so bad that she leaned her head down. It was just running out. And there was a man there, right there, sitting by her. He said, "Marci, I want you to lift your head up or you will drown in your own blood." So she lifted her head up and he said, it wasn't him, I think the voice said to her, "You have a choice. You can leave or you can stay." And she said, "I want to stay." And Stacy had the same choice, exactly. You can leave or you can stay. And both of them chose to stay. And they're both strong women, incredible women, in fact. So Marci went through a whole lot of 54 surgeries, actually, on her face and her inside, just horrible. And I had Marci at one side of the table and Stacy at the other side. And Stacy was trying to feed herself. Marci was wired shut, except enough to put a straw in her mouth where she could drink food. And I looked at that and looked at both of them and I said, I didn't agree to any of this. Yeah. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have, look at Marci, she's fought through it and she never would let any of her friends see her because how would you like to wake up and look in the mirror and see a totally different face that was not very pretty? Yeah. And she did it. Anyway, she wouldn't let any of her friends see her. And so I was going to Albertsons one day when it was still there. She said, "Mom, I think I'll go with you." And I know that she was going to just sit in the car. But she got out of the car, came around and put her arm through my arm, and she was very disfigured. And she says, "I'm going in with you today." And I said, "Great." So we walked in and I was terrified for her of how people would look at her. Yeah. And oh, they did. And she leaned into me and she said, "Mother, all these people are going to look the same as they do now, but I'm going to be better." And then I knew she was going to make it. Yeah. And Stacy's very strong, super strong. She's an amazing example, a presence to everyone she's around. It doesn't matter. They always visit her to see they're going to, boost her up, and they walk away and go, "Wow."
Yeah, she boosts everybody else.
She does.
Yeah.
And when I went to Mother's Day at her ward last Sunday, It was amazing to me how many people would come up to me and just say, "You have no idea what she does to us here. She's our strength. She's our example of endurance and her test. She has this strong spirit that oozes out to you." I said, "Yes, she does." So, out of tragedies, there's some blessings that come.
We have so many, all of the women in our family are so strong.
They have to be.
They have to be, because we're from you. Like, you're strong, we're strong. So,
okay, and then we had a house fire when Stacy was in her coma.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I got a call from Dave. I was in Utah because my aunt had died. It was my first break away from hospitals.
What a break.
And Dave called me and he said, and he was crying. He said, "Mom, the house has burned. Nobody's hurt. Everybody was at the river. Mark and his kids, they were little boys. And they were in the house with the babysitter. And Marky, he was probably 4 or 5, he said, no, I hear popcorn. And the babysitter said, yeah, I do too. I mean, I don't smell it, but I hear pops. She went outside and the roof of the house was on fire.
Oh my gosh.
She got the boys out, and then Dave called me, crying. He said, "The house is on fire, Mom." I said, "Look, Dave, if you can get anything out of that house, I want all the photo albums. That's it. Mm-hmm. It'll all burn." And it did. It burned to the ground. Big mounds of ashes with shoes sticking out of them. And anyway, so I flew home right away. Ramon they called him on another trip. And he said, "I've had 2 damn hard phone calls that I wish never happened." But anyway, he got home as quick as he could. And I had just flew in from Utah. And the couch we had a little blue, like a love seat thing. And it was sitting out in the driveway by the ashes and all the stuff. And Ramon was sitting in this couch like this. And I went over to him and I hugged him and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I'm done." He says, "I'm a good man. I raised a fabulous family, pay my tithing, believe in God, and I'm done. I am so done. Why would God do this?" And so for 13 years, he never went back to church. Mm-hmm. But I knew he'd come back. Anyway, so that was, but when they called me and told me the house was burnt, I said, I could care less about the house. I've been living with comas and daughters, okay? Yeah. And I didn't care. It was too much. Yeah. And it never did, it affected me, but nothing like it would have normally. But I had worse things in my heart and head at the time.
Yeah.
So we got through it. Together, we got through it.
So I'm editing our interview and I love it so much and I think it's wonderful. During the interview, you spoke about Dave, like during his youth and how he was there to help support you, like with Stacy's accident and
yes,
Marci's.
Most definitely, yes.
We didn't touch it all on his death, and I was curious if you did want to say anything about that, or
absolutely. That was part of my life, a huge part. Boy, I have to back up a little bit because I want to talk about what he was like as a son to me.
Yeah.
Because we basically grew up together. Mm. I was 17 when I had him, almost 18. And being that young, and I look back on it now, I was so young and I wanted to go back to high school so I could graduate because it was my senior year. And that didn't happen. So that's a part that I've always regretted, but it just didn't work out. I couldn't do it. I didn't have a lot of support and it just didn't happen. But anyway, I loved that little boy and I was only 17 and I loved him. And my ex-mother and father-in-law came to see him with me, and they asked me if they could take him and raise him as their own.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at them and I said, there's absolutely no way I would ever give this little boy up. I
Yeah.
just won't. But being so young, and even when I started dating your grandpa, that was the part that I really opened up and talked deeply to him about. And it blew him out of the water. He said, you being so young, he said, that's incredible that you had a chance to get on with your life and do whatever you wanted, but you didn't even hesitate, which I never did. I said, no, I will never give him up. He's my son and I'm going to raise him.
I love that.
So Dave and I were always very close because I made a lot of mistakes with him when I married your grandpa and had 2 more sons. I tried to shield him so much, and I think it's because, we were a team. All I had was him and all he had was me.
Yeah.
But when I had 2 more sons, he never felt, and I learned this later, but he never felt like he belonged as much as he wanted to. And I blame me for that. And if I had it to do over, I'd probably do a lot of things differently with him to make him feel more one of the family, because Grandpa absolutely loved that little boy. He fell in love with him just immediately. And there was never any hesitation for him to get him adopted. And it took us 3 or 4 years to let the donor, the sperm donor, let him adopt him, because he never had a whole lot to do with him. He never did. But that's what happens when you're both young and you don't know what you're doing. Dave loved me more than I've ever felt so loved in my life. I mean, every time he would come here, or when he got out of the Navy, he would just always hug me and love me and thank me for the mother that I was for him. So I was very close to him. And when Anjanae, see, I have to give you all this background, but when Anjanae was born, I was there at the birth. And Dave came out in the hallway, and we were both crying because it was a very emotional moment.
Yeah.
And he put his arms around me and he hugged me so tight, and he said, "Mother, I am so thankful you never gave me up." I just about died. I cried so hard, and I'll never forget it. Never. And so we were very close. So when he was an adult and, not taking care of himself, he gained weight. So he was in a lot of stress that I didn't realize. I didn't know that until later. Gaining the weight, I knew he wasn't healthy. And, when your kids are adults, you just, you have to just let them be who they want to be and what they want to do. You have no control over their choices in life.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when he caught a sinus infection, but he was also at Harborview, which is the biggest hospital in Seattle for a learning hospital. So he had a lot of years in surgery, but he knew too much about medicine to be dangerous for him.
Yeah.
So he was trying to take care of himself, and it never worked. And he, I guess, woke up during the night and he couldn't breathe. And Colleen called the ambulance. They took him to the hospital. They sedated him in the ambulance so his heart would relax.
Wow.
But come to find out, he had a heart attack too. And so when he was sedated, he was never conscious again.
Wow.
And I was driving to the hospital on the freeway, and I got stuck in traffic, and I never made it when he passed away. Heidi was with him, and Ramon. And it was awful. Anyway, so that's the story about how close we were. And I miss him something awful. Uh, but I know that he was in a better place. I knew that he wasn't hurting anymore. And he was such a sweet, sweet, I always called him the white color because that's the kind of a personality that's just so easy to get along with. And they put up with a lot of stuff because they're just so sweet.
Yeah.
So that's my David.
That's really sweet, Grandma.
Well, it's true. I
Sad.
mean, yep, he was a doll.
I think that's a good thing to add.
Yeah, because like I said, we were so close, and I wish I could do it over with him, but that isn't possible. So I hope he forgives me for being such a young mother and not knowing how to deal with life and stuff like that. But
I'm sure he does.
yeah. But anyway, I've learned a lot since, so I'm a tough broad, you know that.
I do know that.
You don't have to put that in either.
No, I'm keeping that one.
I'd rather say I'm a tough woman, not a broad.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's see, is there anything happy that's going on?
Well,
The two accidents and the house
you have
fire.
the accidents, the house fire. You have different kids go through divorces at times. My mom died.
Shanny's death was horrible to me. I mean, she was more than just a daughter. A daughter-in-law. She was a daughter. And I adored her. And we were so close. I knew her life better than anybody because she knew that I loved her regardless what she'd done, what she was doing. I loved her. And I knew the goodness in her. But that was horrible for me, just awful. And that's when I started worrying about all you kids. Okay, so what else?
Well, I know there's a lot of beautiful things that happened in that time too, but that is a lot for one person to go through in a lifetime, and that's not even all of it. I know there was a lot of heartbreak. Well, how did you get through it?
How did I get through it?
Yeah.
Because I knew I had faith in a Heavenly Father that loved me. I mean, I feel it when I pray. I can feel Him. So I knew that, and I knew that that would not make me alone. Because a wonderful Father would not leave you alone.
Yeah.
And a Savior wouldn't leave you alone. Anyway, my faith is what pulled me through all that because I knew in the end it will be worth it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, and that was hard. All of it was hard. And all of my close friends, I think every one of them are all college educated. And I've always felt like that's been a lack in my life. It makes you feel not as intelligent and bright as you are if you let it be. So when I have talked to all these crazy friends of mine, they look at me and say, especially Colleen, she's the one that, she's just a wise woman, one of the most wise, educated women I've ever met. But anyway, she looked at me and she said, Rhonda, do you know that you have 3 PhDs? She said, you're one of the most intelligent women I've ever known. And I've always tried to copy my life after you as a mother and stuff like that. And I'm going, what? But I'll take the PhDs, yes.
Yes. You've earned them.
I have.
I don't want to just gloss over this and we can come back to it, but last year we lost Grandpa. And I know part of what has been to help you through this has been your friendships, your female friend group, your partners in crime. What do your friendships mean to you?
I think one of the best things to know is that you're not alone, because you are alone. And if you dwell on that, it's almost too difficult to handle. And that's when I get mad at him. Yeah. And I really tell him.
Good.
I think the worst part, and I look at people that don't have family, because I have not been alone since he passed away. You know, that has been such strength and blessings to know that I am so blessed to have that occur. So that has all been a real strength. But I know now that when Brooke goes to New Zealand, that's going to be a toughie.
Yeah.
Because I raised her. I don't care what Heidi says. I raised her. Yeah. And I raised you.
Yeah.
And Sarah and all the boys. I loved it. I was so grateful. That's what I wanted to say. So very grateful. Financially, that I didn't have to work, that I could be a full-time mother. And I loved it. That was the most incredible experience of my life, is to birth children and raise them. That, there's just no words. You can't even say it, because you don't even know what's that like until it happens. But it's phenomenal. And it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. The most thankless, hardest thing you'll ever do. But you know, then you reap the blessings. That's the blessings of the hard work.
I love you.
I love you too. Losing Ramon is the most difficult thing I've ever gone through. It's an entirely different, deep heartache than accidents, comas, house fires, because he's part of me. I mean, we were a team. And when that's taken, that rips a big hole out of whatever you are.
You were together 67 years? 66 years. That is no small feat.
Nope. Like I said, it was tough. It was hard, but it was worth it all. And when we would disagree and then make up, it was so worth it. And we both wanted that to be that way. So, and I never once mistrusted him in his job. I had so many women that always say, aren't you worried about, he's having affairs, or all these women that will grab onto him, and they did. I said, I never have, because I knew that he could not handle the guilt. Mm. He had such a good heart.
He did have a really good heart.
Mm-hmm. So I never did. And that's a shock.
Yeah, with your past with men. And
yeah.
He was a good one, though.
He was the best. He was the best for me.
Is there anything else you want to touch on from the past?
I think I've touched on most of it.
I always like to ask, how right now are you building a better life?
It's very gradual, and I can't deal a lot with the future way down there somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's gradual, and I'm learning that grief never does leave you. You have to learn to live with it. And that's been a big lesson.
Yeah, they talk about, like, you go through the 5 stages of grief.
Mm-hmm. I go back and forth, because then I'll be angry.
Yeah.
And then I'll be this. And
yeah. There's no, like,
but I
getting away
miss
from
him just. Phew.
Do you think we need to... Any other questions or anything to touch on?
Do you have any questions, Bookie? That saved our marriage a lot of times, because it got away from all the grief. But yet that was the hardest thing to do, was to go to Arizona and leave Stacy. Because if you don't check on somebody that's in an assisted living, ugh. And I couldn't live with myself. So I would go, but I'd always have that horrible feeling of wondering how she's doing. And
yeah.
So I'd send her a card every week, funny ones, to know that she knew I was thinking of her.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'll ever be able to go back to Arizona. And I have 2 incredible close neighbor friends that I adore. But I don't want to look at that house.
Yeah.
And it's been sold, and I hope they change it and paint it purple or green or orange or whatever. But I really hope that I can go back because BJ was such a phenomenal friend and neighbor, and her live-in crazy man, Roger. So that's kind of how it is with that house. And I'm glad you brought that up.
I love you so much, and
I love you.
I know, like, we've said it to each other a million times, and I don't know, our relationship is so special. I'm so glad that you were a mother for all those years to me and to Brooke, and so, like, all of our family.
And I love doing it. I loved it. I just loved it. I felt like this was the most important thing right now I can do. And I loved it. It was never a grudge or never.
Yeah.
And it's still that way. You can live here forever. I just don't ever want it to change.
Yeah.
But I will never lose you. Never.
No.
And I will never not love you. That's way beyond even thinking about. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would, but it was healing.
I want to give you a hug.
I'll do that.
I love you.
I love you, Sam, so much. Be sure and tell your sweet Sarah that I love her and I miss her.
I will.
She's the quiet one. She's a lot like your mother in that way. She's really mellow. And
Yeah.
she is. She's mellow.
Yeah.
And you're the firecracker.
Yep.
Yep. I got a lot of firecrackers in this family. And I love it.
I do too.
Okay, are we done?
I think so.
Did you turn it off? Goodbye, USA News. Whatever that is.